You're sitting at lunch with your friends. You're having a good time, and you find out that you have a cookie in your lunchbox. You give it to your friend Joe. Joe takes a bite out of it and looks like he's in pain. He tells you that he's having an allergic reaction. Your other friend, Bob, goes and gets the teacher. Then you see Joe stabbing himself with a rod. The teachers call 911 and Joe is sent to the hospital. You completely forgot about his allergy to peanuts and tree nuts. You realize that the cookie you gave him was made with peanuts. You wish you had remembered that the cookie contained nuts and hadn't given it to Joe. What is an allergic reaction? To know about allergic reactions, we need to first take a dive into the immune system. The immune system protects your body from offending non-friendly particles such as food or pathogens from the outside environment. Think of it as the wall that protects the kingdom from outside intruders, both externally via the skin and internally via the immune responses. Anything which is foreign to the body, such as food, foreign particles, microorganisms, or pathogens, are called antigens. It is these antigens that the body tries to inactivate to protect itself by either trying to neutralize it by inflammation or by attaching proteins to it, also called as antibodies. Immunity has two components, cell-mediated and humoral immunity. Cell-mediated is a result of certain cells such as phagocytes, T cells, and mast cells in the body which are activated to release multiple small proteins, cytokines, and histamines in response to the antigen. Humoral immunity is a result of secretion of antibody proteins called as immunoglobulins in response to the antigen. There are two kinds of immune responses, and both of them have two components of immunity. Innate immunity is present from birth and is involved with external protection via the skin and also internal protection through inflammation. The cells, phagocytes, and mast cells release histamine that encourages inflammation in an attempt to get rid of the antigen from the body. Adaptive immunity is acquired during a response in life from a foreign material or pathogen. B cells and T cells are responsible for secreting protein antibodies or immunoglobulins in response to foreign antigens. They create an immunologic memory of the exposure and a subsequent response. Dysfunction of either of these responses will have a catastrophic effect on the person, which includes increased infections, autoimmunity, in which the body loses tolerance against itself, or hypersensitivity. The adaptive immunity may be unable to differentiate between itself and foreign antigens, hence we get allergies. What happens during an allergic reaction? To react to an antigen, they need to be exposed to it. Say a person is allergic to peanuts. They would get exposed to peanuts either through cross-contaminated food or accidental ingestion. The immune response is IgE antibody. With the first exposure of peanuts, the antigen is peanut and IgE antibody comes looking for it and it attaches to high affinity IgE receptors on the surface of mast cells and basophils, which are present on the skin, gastrointestinal tract, and respiratory tract. On the second exposure, the cells are already primed with peanuts. This will result in activation of cells to release mediators like histamine and cause allergic inflammation. So then we have vasodilatation, contraction of smooth muscle and mucus secretion, which in turn are responsible for the spectrum of acute allergic reaction symptoms to food. Symptoms: skin produces hives, redness, and swelling. Mouth has swelling of lips and tongue because of vasodilatation. Gastrointestinal tract produces nausea, vomiting, cramps, and diarrhea. Mucus secretions with vasodilatation produce itching and tightness in throat and chest, difficulty in breathing, wheezing, and cough and respiratory obstruction. Heart has dizziness, weak pulse, and passing out. Eventually, there would be a complete cardiac arrest or heart attack. Are there any treatments? If you're allergic to peanuts, your best bet is to avoid the peanut allergen always. Some people are so sensitive that the cross-contamination with peanuts in the food or even present in the environment can trigger anaphylaxis. So help yourself and your allergy friends and family to avoid them. If there is exposure to peanuts, what do? It is an emergency, and the only treatment right now is epinephrine, also known as EpiPen. The rod you saw earlier of the kid stabbing himself with, that's an epinephrine in a syringe, also called as EpiPens. Epinephrine is also adrenaline, a hormone produced in the medulla of adrenal gland in the body, in response to any stressful situation for fight or flight. 2 types of epinephrine injectors are available: rod form or rectangular talking kind. Always carry 2 EpiPens and inject into the muscle on upper right outer thigh. How does EpiPen help? EpiPen increases heart rate and blood pressure because in food allergies, the pressure drops and we have respiratory and cardiac collapses. It also decreases histamine released from cells. It prevents shock. It redistributes blood flow from skin, subcutaneous to skeletal muscle and brain. It dilates pupils, dilates bronchi, and reduces mucosal edema, hence decreases upper airway obstruction to breathe better. Increases blood glucose for energy, increases oxygenation. Is there a cure for food allergies? There is another long-term option, but it doesn't cure you of your allergies. It is called oral immunotherapy. Oral immunotherapy, or OIT, is the new cutting-edge desensitization therapy for those with food allergies. Several universities' trials have been done in the past few years. Currently, there are top 8 food allergens recognized by the FDA: peanuts, tree nuts, shellfish, fish, wheat, milk, soy, and egg. Immunotherapy simply means changing the immunity for purposes of decreasing its undesirable anaphylactic response. The food immunotherapy is giving hope to many people. How does it work? Each allergist follows a protocol as was determined by previous university clinical trials such as Stanford University. Currently, there are 34 allergists in the USA offering the protocols. What is the procedure for OIT? The person is given a small dose of peanuts, 1/10,000th concentration in the doctor's office. The tolerant dose is taken by the person for 14 doses at home. Updose is then done in the doctor's clinic. There are up to a total of at least 16 updoses, which means 10 peanuts, after which a person would eat 8 peanuts per day for life. They need to follow a rest period of 2 hours after dosing, in which there should be no activities which would increase heart rate. The treatment only confers protection against cross-contamination and accidental exposure to peanuts. It is not a cure, but it is another option. And remember to carry your EpiPen.